God gives his people rest by his Spirit and makes for himself a glorious name by leading them. God's presence with us is through his Holy Spirit. He can guide us in many ways. He can stir in us a desire to do something. He can put a burden on our hearts. He can convict us. He can lay something heavy on our conscience. He can speak to us. He can open our eyes and give us understanding. He can illumine his word to us that speaks directly to what we need to know. Knowing that he leads gives us rest. It's his job to carry us through. He can perform all things for us. We just surrender our lives into his arms and let him carry us. A position of rest means we're not trying to work. Jesus accomplished our work. It is finished, he said. We trust his finished work and don't strive to save ourselves. We trust. We get to live by just holding his hand and being held in his arms and let him take us, perfectly leading. Here's another working of the Spirit. This is a picture of God working through his people by his Spirit. This is from verses 11 and 12. Who put in the midst of them his Holy Spirit, who caused his glorious arm to go at the right hand of Moses, who divided the waters before them to make for himself an everlasting name. Moses' outstretched arm did nothing but obey. The Spirit went out at the obedience and drove back the waters. Verse 10 gives us a different working of the Spirit. But they rebelled and grieved his Holy Spirit. Therefore he turned to be their enemy and himself fought against them. The Spirit can be hurt and can harm, though God's anger can only ever carry out his holy but loving purposes, always wanting his people to turn back. Verse 7 gives us one last working of the Spirit. I will recount the steadfast love of the Lord, the praises of the Lord, according to all that the Lord has granted us, and the great goodness of the house of Israel that he has granted them, according to his compassion, according to the abundance of his steadfast love. God pours his love into our hearts by his Spirit. His Spirit is God's love poured out, which he pours out because of his great mercy and grace. He is compassionate toward us and has an abundance of steadfast love to share.